Okay, so it's January 23rd, 2022. I notice I'm still running on 2021, but besides that point, in terms of putting titles into my videos with the wrong dates, so I have to backtrack and fix that. So in the meantime, remember I said I had a few little oranges left? This is just enough for what I need. Now these ones are nice and firm, for the most part. Some more firm than others, you can see. Right, they've been outside in a box. No, not this one. Okay, this one's squishy. You don't want when they're getting squishy like that, because I think that's what that happens. Right? So, I will just do what's viable, in my opinion. See, I won't use that one either. Right? Now I'm nervous to do this. I don't want to have to recan them for a third time. Anyway, got a bowl. I'm going to open them up. And I might wait for Andre. It's only 8:30 in the morning. I've been up since, I don't know, 5 or 5:30. Did dishes, got everything kind of getting ready here. Take out the compromised ones. I'll put everything in the pot. And I'll taste the syrup first. Right? I'm going to empty everything into the bowl. Take out what needs to come out. Taste the syrup if it's fine, because of, we don't know yet, right, until we open it up. Put it all into the pot, syrup and all. I'm going to add 4 more cups of water with 2 more cups of sugar, plus whatever I've got here after I get them ready. Heat everything up, bring it to a boil, and as soon as it's boiling, turn it down, maybe simmer it for about 5 minutes or so on low, medium low, and re-jar them in sterilized jars, and then recan them for 10 minutes. These lids, now the only reason I would use these lids again would be if I can't find lids, in terms of there's a shortage on canning supplies. Right now I've got lids unused, put away. So I'll bring out a new box and we'll use new lids, wash these lids, and then put them in a bag after they dry, labeled used once. Right? And then if and when I ever need them, I can. Plus, there's another idea that I seen with, you can take a used lid, or even a new lid, well, no, a used lid, because you can't find any lids. And like in the good old days, they used to can with the glass on top with the rubber ring. You could double rubber ring it and can it that way, and take your chances. Either or, you're taking your chances, right? But then you're taking your chances even with new lids. Okay, so I did that. See, here's a new box of lids. Alright, these ones I didn't do. When they're getting soft, I don't think you should do it, even if you think the orange is sweet inside. There's the peels. I will salvage those peels right after I peel them and see if Andre wants, see what they taste like, right? In the meantime, that's how much I got left. That's going to go into the new batch here. I took out about a jar in between everything, because remember, I just mixed everything up. I think I got most of it. Of course, I took a flashlight, right? Because for me, everything is dark. Right? Remember, one on my left eye, half my eye is, oh, see, missed one. Half my eye on my left eye, upper top half is all dark. So it gets a little hard for me sometimes. Right. I just do the best that I can. Now I tasted these. They're okay. Right? So what I'm going to do, here's another one. So, I don't know if a seed would play a role in this. Right? Try and take out the seeds if you can find them. If you can find them. Sometimes even this, you see, this one looks like it has a seed in it. Now that I'm looking at it, be curious to see. A few seeds won't kill you because, you know, oftentimes seeds have arsenic, right? So you don't want to be canning seeds if you can help it. But a couple of seeds here and there, if you miss them for whatever reason, are okay. Now, grape seeds don't have arsenic. Grape seeds, after you do your grapes, because I have grapes, right, people? Here's another one. Right? That looks like it might have it. Where am I? Where's my wandering eye? Here it is. That looks like that might be a seed. Okay? So maybe I missed on some seeds here or something. That's what I'm thinking. Here's another one. Alright, so double check. Okay? Even the small little ones have seeds. Here's another one. Not that bad, but it's still just a small little piece. Right? Grape seeds, you can eat. Right? They make grape seed capsules. I have, not from this year, but last year, I got a big 1.9 liter jar full of grape seed that's been grinded up. They were dehydrated, and because I did a lot of things for Amari, right? I did a lot of, what is that called? Grape sauce. Just straight up grape sauce for Amari. And even then, every now and then, I have to double check it because I miss seeds because they're so small. Here's another one. So just double check. Right? So you don't have to do it a second time like me. Just pay attention to what you're doing, because these things are fickle. Fickle all the way through the whole thing, from the start to the beginning. Right? But once it's done, it's done. Right? Now I'm going to taste this juice. Okay? Now the other one, I did chuck it because it sat on my stove there for a day and a half, going on 2 days, right? Oh, look, that might be a seed there. I don't know. And I'm just going to add in, I was going to add in 4 cups to 2 cups of sugar, but I think I'm just going to add in 1 cup, no, 2 cups of water to 1 cup sugar to compensate for that. Okay? But I'm going to heat this up first. Or no, I'm going to start the sugar with the water first, heat it up, put this in there, heat it up gently, throw those in at the last minute, and by then my jar should be done, and I'm going to just can them quickly. Tastes like mandarin oranges. Okay? So, we're almost done. Okay, so in light of what our governments are doing, as usual, I would recommend stocking up on some vinegar, sugar, white sugar that is, and lemon juice, and salt, non-iodized salt, right? Because even if you're not into canning just yet, for whatever reason, you might end up having to do it. But you're not going to be able to do it without salt, vinegar, sugar, and perhaps lemon juice, right? Vinegars obviously are for pickles of any kind, relish, that kind of stuff. The lemon, and it has to be bottled lemon, it can't be a squeezed lemon because the acidity is not strong enough, is when you're canning tomatoes, because the tomatoes have been, you know, genetically modified over a period of years, or just whatever, so their acidity level isn't as high as it should be when it comes to canning, although I highly recommend canning your own tomatoes. Apparently you can ferment tomatoes. Maybe we'll try that one day. But in the meantime, you're definitely going to need bottled lemon juice if you're going to go along those lines. And sometimes, you know, throughout the summer, as I'm working with the apples, depending on what I'm doing, I'll put in a 1/4 cup in a big pot just to add just that little bit of acidity for, you know, with the apples, and I don't know, whatever. I just go by, it depends on the apple too, right? You know, some apples need more sugar, some apple needs no sugar. Like those apples that I get from the tree, I can do a whole pot, people. This is a big pot. I can do a whole pot with just less than half a cup of sugar from the apples that fall from a tree that Andre and I and Amari go get every year. Okay? Whereas you get apples from the grocery store, you're looking at maybe 2 cups of sugar just to have it even have any taste sometimes. So, I'm just saying. And then, of course, salt, right? You know, whether you're using salt as a preservative, layering meat and doing all that, or whether you're using it in your foods, right? And they say non-iodized. I think most people would know that by now. So I'm just pointing that out, right? And you can still use these things for cleaning if you wanted to. Okay, so I'm doing good time here. It's only 11:45 in the morning. Now, mind you, I've been up since 5. So as soon as these start to boil, 10 minutes, you got to sterilize your jars, okay? Because this is not a pressure canner. Just remember that. All right? The only time you don't ever sterilize your jars is when you're pressure canning. Okay. I got my 2 cups of water with 1 cup of sugar. I've heated it up. I've turned it down for now. These, when I put them in there, I'm not boiling them. I'm not going to turn them into mush, okay? I'm just going to heat them up. And once they're heated up, I'm just going to throw those in there. And by then, the jars will be done. And just boom, 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 fast back into the can for 10 minutes on a boil with a lid on top. And then you're good to go. And I think I solved the problem. If I get 1 or 2 in there, then fine. So be it. But I had too many. Obviously, like I said, these things are fickle. So when you do them, be prepared to spend a whole day. Okay? It's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. See, I get shadowing, so I can't always see. Right? I work as hard as I can in terms of my eyesight. I double work. Because I'm, you know, I'm having to pay attention how I move around so I don't get dizzy and fall because of my eyesight. You know, I have to pay twice as hard, pay twice as attention to the food that I'm processing, looking for blemishes, that kind of stuff, right? But all in all, it's working out pretty good considering all things said. Okay, so I think I'm going to try and can 2 of these. I bought 4 containers, right? I don't know. Tisha went to Costco's. What I noticed at Costco's with the stuff that she brought back, I all I got was sugar, vinegar, fabric softener, these, toilet paper, and paper towels, and everything came back in really big sizes. I mean, I asked her for stuff, but I don't know. I just not used to it, right? So anyway, you can see these are big containers. So what I don't like about plastic, people, especially if it's for long term with a liquid inside, right, is the plastic itself starts to buckle. Okay? Because, I don't know, it starts to dry up or something. So, that's why I like things in jars. So anyway, I Googled online or on YouTube, no, just online, just canning bottled lemon juice. And I only came across one article where there was a woman like me that cans, that we need the acidity of that in order to carry on with what we're doing sometimes. It turns out the pH, now I don't know much about the pH about anything, but I did get a pH reader and that kind of stuff because I'm going to get into the microgreens and stuff. Okay, so anyway, the pH of this is, I think, between 2 and 3. So it's, right? Whereas a lemon bought in the store would be higher. That's why they say use this when you're canning. However, I'm not going to go through 4 of those in a year or 2. And at the rate this is going, and you can see it's already doing it, you know, it's hard to say. So anyway, what she did is obviously sterilized her jars. She used pint size, and then she just poured the lemon juice into the jar, sealed it, and then put it in a canner, and a water bath canner, and basically boiled it for 30 minutes. Myself personally, I think 30 minutes is too long. It's unnecessary. One, because it's an acid. I've done cucumbers with vinegar at 190 for 30 minutes. That would make more sense to me with doing it that way versus on a rolling boil of any kind, because at 30 minutes you're going to get siphoning, where if you do it at 190, which is a pasteurizing temperature, okay, the acidity is already the preservative, and being that you would open and bring it to the air, you know, you'd want to at least pasteurize it. So I myself, I don't know, based on what I know and what I've done and the end result, you can see, oh, I guess I should turn this up a bit more. My jar's got 4 more minutes. I'm bringing this up to a boil, just to a boil. I'm actually going to add another cup of sugar because I've decided that I want this batch to be a little sweeter. I think the last syrup I made was, I don't know, what was it? A medium syrup. So I just kind of tipping it over the edge there, right? And if I wanted to, I could put some lemon juice in there, just because. And I might, maybe I'll taste it. So anyway, once that starts to boil, right, turn it down, throw those in there. My son uses this pot a lot, so I don't have my lid. Otherwise, I put my lid on just to hold the heat, but you don't want to lose the shape of the fruit, okay? And then it goes into the water bath canner for 10 minutes, okay? That's all. So why you would boil that for 30 minutes of any sort, I don't know. It doesn't, to me, it doesn't compute, especially being that it's so acidity. Like, it's not anything that you need to. Anyway, I think I don't know what to think. I only seen one article, and I think she was in my position. She just didn't want it sitting in a bottle for years, right? Which I don't. It's enough I got 4 of them. The only reason I bought 4 of them was because whatever we're going through might lead into years, assuming that we're even around to see it. Okay? You understand? So if I'm around, I want to make sure I have lemon and lemon juice, because I can continue to do this no matter what, perpetually, as long as I have my basics: sugar, salt, vinegar, and bottled lemon juice. Now, my only concern, and this is why I would say at 190, we're at that pasteurizing, you can actually go to 185, right? But I keep it at about 190, right? You just bring up your temperature to 190. You don't even, and 190 is just starting to go towards a boil. You don't want to do that, right? You just want to get it there and then hold it there, okay? And with a quart, and that's 30 minutes with a quart, because I did the fruit, I did the juices, right? I have videos on that stuff, okay? And they're fine. I'm just waiting for this stove to start beeping here. But that's quart size at 30 minutes. So a pint size, I'd probably maybe do 20 minutes. So 20 minutes at 190. I think that's what I'm going to try, just because I don't want no siphoning. The only other thing that I would be concerned about would be changing the pH balance on it, in terms of if it's a 2 to a 3 pH, and by boiling it, it brings it up higher. I don't know. Or maybe just bringing it to that 190 to pasteurize the fact that you opened the jar, poured it into another jar, closed it, then put it, right? You somehow brought pathogens from the air, because, it's like sourdough. You can start sourdough with just, a little bit of sugar, flour, and water, and it will pick up the molds in the air, and the good molds, right? And will start to ferment. Well, same kind of principle, I would think. So in order to kill off those pathogens at this 190, that's it. It's called pasteurizing. right? And because the acid is already the preservative, you don't have to boil it on hard for 30 minutes. It doesn't make any sense. When you can pasteurize and do apple juice, blackberry juice, those kind of juices at 190 for 30 minutes in a quart-sized jar. It works. And I think their pH would probably be a little higher than a lemon juice. I'm not sure. We're going to learn about pH and what it really means in the kitchen. Okay, so I found another recipe from another woman. Anyway, she, I guess, used real lemons or oranges or whatever, right? Okay. See, I don't make orange juice. I've done tomato juice, but you have to have this in order to make tomato juice, right? I've done apple juice, raspberry juice, blackberry juice, right? I've done those juices, and the apples and stuff, and the blueberry, all that. You can do it 190, pasteurized for 30 minutes in a quart-sized jar, okay? Because then this way you don't get it leaching out when you take it out of the canner, or leaching into the canner. So anyway, she used half-pint jars, got her lemon juice, that I guess she squeezed for herself, put it in a pot, and then she brought it up to 190. Why am I not surprised? Because the 190 pasteurizes those microbial pathogens, okay? But it doesn't boil the shit out of it. So, and 190 held for 30 minutes can easily preserve a jar when it comes to juice. And if you're doing it with pickles, with vinegar that is, right? It helps to keep them crisp versus overcooking them for the time that you process them. Okay, I've done them with pickled 190 with pickles as well, in a vinegar brine. So here are these little testers. I haven't obviously used them yet, right? I feel kind of intimidated by it, but it's like anything when you don't know, right? It takes a little while to get the hang of it. I'm not sure what this is used for. And so anyway, the only thing I would say is, okay, I think as soon as I'm done these oranges, which you can see now, they're coming to a boil, I just put in that extra almost cup of sugar, right? So I'm kind of doing a video here. I should be having my jars out already, but besides that point. So I could just turn it down. Okay, we don't want to lose the shape of them. I will throw those in when I'm ready to start filling up my jars. Give them just a couple of minutes, and then fill up my jars, can them. And then after that, I think I'm going to can these two. I'm going to start with either a pint size. I'm going to do pint and a couple pints, maybe 2 pints, and then that would be maybe 4 half pints, right? Because I don't use it all the time, but I need it from time to time. And I like the idea of a half pint, especially if I'm just like, you know, doing specific things. And I'm going to try that, and I'm going to do it at 190. Normally when you make juice, like if I was making a blackberry juice or apple juice or whatever you do, you bring it up in a pot first to 190, you put it into your jars, and then you can carry on, take it to your canner, keep it at, bring it up to 190, and then hold it with your thermometer, your candy thermometer, and carry on for the 30 minutes so that it seals the jar, okay? Otherwise, if you're going to put your jar in there with all that liquid with a 1/4 inch from the rim, because that's what you do, you go up as high as a 1/4 inch. By the time you're done boiling for 30 minutes, even at 8 on your stove, and then wait for it to cool and then take them out, you're going to find that you might end up losing that much out of your juice. So I would think the same principle applies here. And being that I'm concerned, wondering if it's going to change the pH level after the fact of doing all that, well, I guess I should write on the label, check pH. Check pH before you start putting it in with your tomatoes or whatever it is else that you're canning that needs this specific type of ingredient. Then this way you've got that fail-safe measure, right? Unless, of course, you want to leave it in the bottle like that for 3 years, 5 years, or whatever. But I can already see these bottles are starting to, and I don't like that. Okay, so as I'm doing this, it's about 1 inch from the rim, right? I'm thinking, in order to pasteurize something, that other recipe, she said hold it for 5 minutes. I think I read 5 minutes. Okay, I mean, there is a length of time that you have to hold your liquid at 190, right? In order to fully pasteurize it. If it's 5 minutes, I don't know. It's been a long time. Right? I just know that if you do it at 30 minutes in a canner trying to seal your jars, it's effective. Okay? When it comes to these types of juices. Right? Okay? Like in the blackberry and these I will boil for 10 minutes. Now, look, you see, I'm already seeing. And I haven't even started. I see something right there. Do you see it? Where is it? There it is. So, just looks like a little piece of something. So, you don't have to hold it at 190 for 30 minutes in order to pasteurize it. The 30 minutes comes in if you're trying to seal your jar without losing all its liquid. Okay? And when you make fresh fruit juice for your children, especially if they're small and they're infants, you really should pasteurize on the stove for the length of time. I think it's 5 minutes. It must be 5 minutes. She said 5 minutes. 10 minutes. At least 10 minutes. Right? You pasteurize it. Okay? And then you give it to your children if it's fresh juice and you juiced it. Right? It's recommended to do that. Okay? Because they can come in with those microbial pathogens like E. coli and Listeria and those kind of things. All right. E. coli is usually the biggest culprit because oftentimes where these things are grown, you know, birds and animals and just, you never know, right? That's what it's usually boils down to. Okay, hold on. Okay, so before I put on the lids, here's what I've learned since doing this. If you just do it the way I just did it by heating it up a little bit in the pot, okay, and then you put it in your jar versus doing a cold pack. Now, cold pack, you know, for things that have a lot of air in them, and oranges is one of them, you're not going to get as many in there as if you were to heat them up a little bit. That's the first thing. But since these jars have been sitting here, and I'm like looking still, and I did find, look, see, I found. Right? Now, whether that's because I got new ones when I heated up that new batch of oranges, which I think so. So that's an added advantage to doing it in the pot first, heating it up a little. You see? I see another one right now. It's, okay, right here. Do you see it? I can see it. Right? It's like the heat is bringing out the flaw, the damaged fruit. I would think it's bruised. Okay? All right. So, with that said, if you do it this way, let it sit for a bit, you're going to notice it real fast. Versus not noticing it until after you get it into the canner and then bringing it out and finding out that it happened. Now, these ones, I don't recall, these ones were strictly cold pack. I don't see any of this issue that I'm having. Now, mind you, I took the cream of the crop when I did that batch. Okay? And then I started to cheat, thinking I was being frugal when in fact all I did was create more work for myself. But through that process, right, we're figuring out what happened. Okay? And if you don't want to take the chance on your second batch because you took the cream of the crop, canned the first one, cold pack, and then, you know, you're getting into oranges that maybe you're not too sure about, but you think you can can, and then find out that maybe you shouldn't have, do it this way. Get them ready, heat up your sugar water, throw your fruit, well, you know, melt your sugar, and then throw your fruit in, turn down the heat, give it a few minutes, put it in your jars, and then let it sit. And as the fruit is just sitting because it's already been heated, it's releasing not only its juices or whatever it's doing, air, and then what you're going to find is your water level is going to drop a little bit. So I've been topping it off. I thought I was going to have enough liquid for, what is that called? Maybe using it and trying to make a jello or something just for fun. But as it turns out, as I'm prepping these jars, getting ready to put my lids on, I'm having to top off a spoonful at a time. Like this one I can see is already dropped again. So I take a spoon, right, where is it? And I just add a bit more. Wandering eye, sorry. So that's one thing that I'm learning here is I like this method, okay? Especially when you're getting into oranges that you're not too sure about in terms of absolute primo, right? Outside of that, I mean, how did I miss those when I had it in the bowl? I don't think I missed those. I think that happened with the last little bit of oranges that I put in there that I just peeled. And the heat somehow brought it to our attention. Oh, you see? Here's another one coming. Do you see? There's another one. I can see it now. And I just looked at these jars. So this is doing this from the heat. Okay? So if you're trying to avoid that, because we went through that, I just looked at this jar, okay? I just looked at this jar, and that wasn't there. So this is doing this as I speak. Right? Oh, my Lord. Where is it? Here it is. See? So, get them in your jars and let them rest for a few minutes. Not only are you going to have to top them off the liquid, but if there's a bruised orange, it's going to show itself soon enough. And then, after you can it, if you've got one bruised, I wouldn't worry. But that last batch, there was just too many of them. But we know now how to solve that problem, right? Okay, so now we know that, like I said, canning Mandarin oranges is like fickle. They're fickle, okay? This browned after the fact, which more than likely came from the new oranges that I put into the pot, because we went through that bowl several times, and that was all taken out, okay? Okay, so as I wait for my canner to start boiling so I can boil for 10 minutes with the lid on, right? I don't boil it hard on 9. I bring it down to 8, and then once it's boiling, then I turn it down to 8. I find having it on 9 just rattles the jars too much. Sorry, there goes that wandering eye. So anyway, as I'm waiting for that to start boiling, you see these jars? This is ultimately what I'd like to can something like lemon juice in. Now, I know you can go online and order bottles to can your own hot sauces. Maybe I might do that and attempt to make my own hot sauce, because Andre likes it. I know Marcane likes hot sauce. I like it sometimes depending on what I'm doing with it. And I don't think it would be that hard to make, honestly, people, okay? And if I was to can it in anything, I would prefer a bottle like that. So I'm gonna see at some point in the future if I can order some hot sauce bottles. Maybe, I don't know if you can get them this size. But in the situation like with the lemon juice, definitely I would prefer to can it in this versus in a mason jar. Now, where these came from is when I got all that frozen food that nobody wanted at Pastor Granny's house. The frozen pears, that kind of crap. All those frozen cans of carnation, thick cream. Okay? These were also there, scattered about. Some were broken. And I just brought them home, and I want to do some crafts with Andre with glass, but that's what I had in mind when I brought them home, right? Not so much what was inside. But now that I'm doing what I'm doing with these Mandarin oranges, and I'm going to attempt to recan lemon juice for long-term storage, then I'm going to see about ordering some of these for the future. And maybe I might even wait for those types of jars, bottles, before I do the lemon juice. But I just kind of want to get on with things, so it's hard to say what I'm going to do yet. I just wanted to point that out, right? Okay, so I'm done. 1 o'clock. All things said. So, it doesn't look like I got too much more of that brown stuff. Now, if you notice, doing it that way, well, I guess it's all the same in terms of the amount in the jar, but I don't see. Now, it might still change when it cools down, but right now it looks pretty good. So I'm not too sure about the lemon. I'm looking up bottles right now, so hold on. Okay, so I don't know. I'm going to finish this video. I ordered some hot sauce bottles online now, before they're double the price and come spring and summer, because I'm going to try and do that in the summertime. I want sweet hot sauce. That's what I want. But besides that point. So anyway, as you can see, it looks much better now, right? I already showed you what to do, right? So, you know, keep that in mind if you ever decide to can. You can see it's a little bit there, not much, right? I can even see that in the dark. And trust me, everything looking dark right now. Okay? Right? A little bit, right? That's being done through the heating up of the orange, all right? But not as bad as the first time around. Okay? And the first batch, like I said, I took the cream of the crop. Second batch, obviously, some of the oranges were, you know, a little bruised or whatever, but not anything that's going to cause a problem. These are looking nice. These just came out of the canner. They're cooling down now. It looks like they've all pretty much sealed, right? I'm just showing you, okay? So I've got a whole case of, what is that called? 500 mil. Because I made sure I did 5 jars. You can see. I already got them here. That was the first batch. Right? And then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 jars of half pints. So, and I'm impressed with this. I'm feeling pretty good. I think I'm going to take time out for canning in terms of lemon juice, although I'm going to save the hot sauce bottles for more than likely hot sauce. And I think I'll just do, because Tisha found me jars. Oh my God, another $146. I'm going in the hole, people. I'm wheeling and dealing with my bills right now. But besides that point, I'll probably do them in half pint size jars, and maybe 1 or 2 pint size, and just be done with it, because I don't want that lemon juice to go to waste. And then I'll write on my label to check for the pH, right, to make sure that the pH is at the right balance before I use it for any other cooking at a future date, just as a double backup measure. Right?